All right. What is up, you guys? It's your boy Rob Hollow Avarice back again after a really fun stream yesterday to continue our playthrough of Final Fantasy 16. I am literally picking up where I left off. We made our way back to the Phoenix Gate. Over here somewhere. Back to Phoenix Gate, where we have not been in 13 years. Delved deep into the apothecary, only to not find the hooded robed man, who I think might be Joshua Reborn. Instead, only to find murals, monsters of an undead nature, and a mental challenge forcing Clive to accept that he is Ifrit. We made our way back through the dim to Eastpool, where everyone was dead. Yep. We also did Martha's Rest and all that. We're making our way back to the hideaway, unknowingly being followed by one of Hugo Kupka's men. Because I think the Kingdom of Waloed over here... Is there just a giant hole in the ground? Was that always there? I don't feel like that was there. Is that new? Is that from the light, or maybe that was from the battle that recently happened? Right. I think the Kingdom of Waloed, the King of Waloed, maybe planned this and cut off Benedicta's head and sent it here and framed Cid. That's my guess. Because Cid had no reason to antagonize Hugo. But it's going to lead to open conflict with the Dalmex, and I think that's how we're going to get Titan, our third power, is my guess. Anyway. We now return with Jill and Torgal to the hideaway, and as we do so, guys, let me thank you for being here. Righting wrongs. Let me thank you for being here.
To Cid Solar, then.
Oh, okay. I thought it would be like an immediate thing upon returning, which is why I paused so awkwardly last video. Anyway, as we are getting started, let me just say thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching this on Twitch, make sure you're following. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you are subscribed. Alright, here we go. Yeah.
Wanted to send a message, most likely.
You tell Cid what you told me. We can hammer out the details once that's done.
The reports from Eastpool are disturbing.
What happened? Is everything all right? No, it's not.
Now, my research can continue apace, and when my fertilizer is complete, the furrows will need expanding. Bahamil will not bow to the plight.
Come by again when we've grown some fruit worth eating, and I'll see that you get some.
Not a yummy nut in sight, Kupo.
There's a commotion in the main hall. What's happened?
Clive's back in a dope new outfit.
I heard Otto barking at his lion.
I heard you lost someone in Eastpool.
I'll fetch you a bowl of brown.
I'm sorry. If there's anything you need, just say the word.
And how might this old soul...
Update Hippocrates on all the goings on. Mostly bad. Close, not bad.
Wish to study the tomes?
Oh, we got a lot of updates. Cool. Hugo Kupka. Revenge exacted. He has little love for country. Oh, sorry. His greatest treasure, however, was always Benedicta Harmon. So when a servant of Waloed informed him that his love had been slain by Cid, his fury toward the outlaw and his allies knew no bounds. Okay, so it was a servant of Waloed. So I'm betting it was Barnabas Thramir. Or at the very least, on his orders. Bernard, a carpenter from Martha's Rest. Martha. Lord Commander of the Rosarian Army, outranked by only by his firm friend Archduke Elwin, when Clive manifested to Ifrit, Murdoch lost his life. Lay of the land. The Apothecary. A place of worship located in the depths of the Phoenix Gate, an ancient stronghold on the northwestern border of the former Duchy of Rosaria. A large mural dominates the sacred chamber, where the rite of ancestral communion, a ceremony carried out by the Duchy's dominant prior to marching to battle, was once performed. Eastpool. Following the culling, Blight drove out most of. In the aftermath of the attack on Phoenix Gate in 860, the Ironblood invasion that followed, many fled here, including bears who lost their masters. The majority of the population, however, was wiped out in the culling of bears ordered by Empress Annabella, and the village now lies abandoned in ruins. The Purge of Eastpool. The Purge was a brutal attack on the Rosarian village of Eastpool in the year 873. Annabella Lesage, Holy Empress of Sombrec, and Vicereine of Rosaria, ordered that all bears being harbored by the villagers be slaughtered along with those ducal loyalists who had given them shelter. In the ensuing massacre, Eastpool's population was effectively decimated, and ultimately the village was abandoned. The territorialization of Rosaria. In the year 861, taking advantage of the discord arising from the Night of Flames, the Ironblood launched an attack that inflicted devastating losses on the already crippled nation, robbing it of what little power remained. Later that same year, Sombrec stepped in and forced the once proud duchy to submit to one final humiliation by becoming a vassal state of the empire, just as Duchess Annabella and her imperial conspirators had planned. Three Reeds, an area of marshland in the eastern part of the imperial province of Rosaria. Numerous shacks and hovels dot the swamp, suggesting there's one sparsely populated. Following the annexation of Rosaria, with the great city of Oriflame as its capital, political power of the empire technically resides with the 5 cardinals, but even they are bound to the whims of the Holy Emperor in those matters of state in which he takes interest. In the year 860, at Emperor Sylvester's behest, the cardinals agreed upon a plan to liberate Rosaria from the marauding forces of the Iron Kingdom, after which the duchy had little choice but to bend the knee to the imperial province. The Vice-Regency. After the incorporation of Rosaria into the empire, Emperor Sylvester elected not to rule the new province directly, but make it a Vice-Regency with Rosalith as its provincial capital. We knew that one. Branded soldiers. Or they're forced to fight for their nation. To stymie the urge to flee, the penalty for desertion is death, and soldiers are encouraged to keep a close watch on each other to prevent others from doing so. The brand upon a soldier's cheek presents an additional obstacle, and so most follow their orders, turning steadily to stone with each draw on the ether. To lose one's life to the curse being lauded as a hero's death. Echoes. Strange clockwork constructs often encountered in fallen ruins. The question of whether or not they are truly alive is open to debate. As they do not appear to require water, they do not feed on flesh of their victims as beasts do, they seemingly exist solely to protect their habitat from intruders. All echoes are encased in a protective plating made from the same material as the ruins and thus cannot be destroyed, though repeated blows will cause individual plates to dislodge, eventually causing the entire construct to collapse. I think the Lich and all of them were Egai. Or Aegis is Egai, yeah. Beings conjured up by a dominant. Oh wait, no, never mind. Ultima's Thralls. Twisted, glowing blue creatures that awaited Clive and jailed deep within Phoenix Gate and tried to prevent them from gaining the innermost recesses of the Apothecary. So they're the Thralls of Ultima. What did I miss? Ancient mural, wall painting. Created it for what purpose is unknown. It's some sort of lost ancient religion. So far I have Ifrit, Phoenix, Shiva, Ramu, Garuda, Titan, Bahamut, Odin. So this is gonna be the water one, right? It's gotta be. Megalo crabs. Pause. Antelopes. Adorable. Bighorns. Weird. Rosaria and the windswept savannas of Dhalmekia. Bombs. Floating masses of self-contained flame found across storm and ash. They lack flesh that we associate with fauna. Leading scholars of the natural deposit that they are not descended of any beast, but rather ungodly creations of the fallen. By suppressing their infernal furnaces, bombs can allow their bodies to cool and harden until they are appearing not more than simple stones unworthy of remark. It's from they hunt their prey. Adamantoids, enormous creatures with nigh impermeable and oddly fertile shells that play host to diverse flora. That provide the painfully conspicuous reptile with much needed camouflage in the bogs and fens they call their home. They're cool. Iron giants, oversized suits of armor animated by lost fallen magic. Deceptively swift despite their size, they wield both sword and shield skillfully and effectively, while the otherworldly place which surrounds their vulnerable cores provide them nigh impenetrable defense. Cool.
The door to the shelves shall ever be open.
Who knew there were so many uses for dung?
Do you need any help, Miss Molly?
Clive, was it?
Yep.
We can keep running. Or we can walk through this door.
That one.
This place is getting more crowded by the day.
I tell myself the bustle's a blessing. There'll be time enough for quiet contemplation when I'm dead. So, did you find the answers you were looking for?
I still don't know what to make of this gift, curse, or whatever it is I've been given. But there is one thing I can say for certain. I am a dominant, Ifrit. And there is nothing I can do to change that. It is a burden I must bear until my dying day.
Spoken true. Forgiveness and in turn salvation can only begin with acceptance.
Cool.
It's a path we all must walk.
I like that.
No matter how colourful our histories.
Sid, you once told me that you wanted to build a place where people could die on their own terms.
I did.
I've been thinking about that.
I feel like Sid's gonna die
Why not
before
a
the end of
place
this game.
where people can live on their own terms? For 13 years, killing was all I knew. So obsessed with death that I never stopped to consider the lives of those around me. Lives that I see now were scarcely worth living. Be they bearers or beggars, most march blindly to their end, never realizing that they too deserve a choice. And I dare not turn a blind eye to their suffering any longer.
Cool. That was good, Clive.
So, atonement then, is it?
Purpose.
That was the answer we found.
The only one we need.
I'll be expecting you both to pull your weight.
And we will.
Well then.
A duo
Sprinkle
super.
Fire and ice. This plan of mine might just work.
Dun,
What trouble are you looking to get yourself
bum,
into
bum,
now?
bum, bum,
Best
bum.
kind.
Awesome.
We're going to sneak into the Imperial capital
Oriflamme?
and pay a visit to Mother.
Ooh, Mother Dearest. It's time. Let's go do a matricide. Ooh, earlier. Is that it in the shadow of that crystalline? Yeah. The Holy Empire of Sombrek. I got it now. The Council of Elders, White Worm Lair.
And the last of our farmholds in the eastern provinces has succumbed to the blight.
Without their yield, we will be hard-pressed to fill the capital's granaries before winter.
If there is a
Aye,
capital
Cardinal.
by then, the black creeps closer as we speak.
Same hair as Dion.
Naught but ball and bluster.
The Emperor. Sylvester. Yeah, the Holy Emperor.
Your radiance?
Mm-hmm. All light themed, radiant.
If it is fertile land the Empire acquires, we need but look south.
If you mean the crystalline Dominion's holdings, we are bound by mutual accord. Theirs is a neutral state whose borders we are sworn to respect.
Gentlemen, did we swear to see our people starve?
Well, I really do think that...
Right, I'm sorry. I don't know. I mean,
The gates of Oriflamme buckle at the flood of those come seeking refuge from the blight. If there is not grain enough to feed those within our walls, how, pray tell, will we feed those without? But instead of setting your minds to riddles such as these, you lock horns with an enemy from across the sea, sending our soldiers to the slaughter in their thousands.
yep.
The Empire bleeds, and you...
Oh, wait, you know what? Let me, there we go. We got a couple new things. Let's check out Oriflamme, the capital of the Holy Empire, located in the northeastern storm on a peninsula that dominates Oilifeist Bay and is home to the mother crystal known as Drake's Head. Gotcha, up here. This is Oriflamme and Drake's Head. I see it. Okay. So that's the words Drake's, which would mean that Drake's Fang, Drake's Breath. Not sure about that. And Drake's Lung. Drake's Spine. Okay, I see it. The enemy from across the sea is the continent of Ash and the kingdom of Alud. The seat of the Holy Emperor. The Council of Elders, advisors to the Holy Emperor, the highest body of government in the Empire. The Council consists of 5 cardinals of the Gregorian Church, who are intended to rule in the Emperor's stead. The Emperor, meanwhile, is expected to serve as a constitutional monarch. There's little to prevent one who wishes to impose their will upon the Council from playing a more autocratic role. I'm assuming that's what Sylvester's doing. The Emperor, who won his throne, at least partly by virtue of his son, Dion, having awakened as the dominant of Bahamut. A tiny independent state straddling the continents of Storm and Ash, its capital, Twinside, is built on a tiny Isle of Ark, on which the mother crystal Drake's tail, okay, that's the last one, rises. The lack of a dominant has been seen. The Dominion become the subject of constant maneuvering over years, both political and military. Only through recent convening of the Council of All Nations that a non-aggression treaty toward the neutral body was forged. Need tenuous stability amongst centuries-old rivals. Right?
sit here prattling like crones in a tea house. And you fancy yourselves leaders of men. Clan Breck is naught without her citizens. We are but their servants.
Crystalline Dominion, I got it right there.
If their land is being wrested away, it is our duty to claim new lands for them.
Your Radiance! You cannot mean a war of conquest.
That is exactly what I mean. It is time we expanded our dominion. This is the will of Great Grieger.
Oh, I don't. Oh,
There
sorry.
will be uproar. Then we must find a way to distract the citizenry. But how much will that cost?
And what of our legions? Shall we raise the Fyrds?
Well, someone will have to contend with the Dalmex.
I will not keep you. You all have much to do.
He drops in, raises a stink, says, let's take over the Crystalline Dominion. Oh wait, that was a new one. The state religion of the Holy Empire, whose followers worship the goddess Grieger as the one true deity. At the church's head stands the Holy Emperor, voted into office by his fellow cardinals. Supposedly their equal, though it is widely recognized to be a convenient fiction. The followers of Grieger worship dragons as sacred servants of the goddess. Got it.
Where is my son?
The Lord Prince is currently garrisoned at the Strait of Orther. If it please you, I can send word requesting his immediate return to the Holy Capital.
That won't be necessary. Tell him instead to see to his wounds. Bahamut's strength will be needed again soon.
As you command.
I must have misheard. You mean to tell me that the Mother Crystals are the reason the world is dying?
What now?
Are you mad?
I have been called that on occasion, but no, not today. We've all seen it firsthand. Empty wastes where once were green meadows. Land drained so dry of its ether, not even the rats remained.
Layering the theme over it.
Where was it all going? I spent years searching for an answer, until I saw it standing right in front of me. There, in the self-same crystals, we look to for their so-called blessing. All right, listen. Take this crystal. How does it allow us to conjure magics? Answer, by drawing ambient ether from the air. And where do these crystals come from?
The Mother Crystal.
That's easy. They're mine from the Mother Crystals.
They're one and the same. Although admittedly this here fits more easily in the pocket.
But the Mother Crystals are massive. Some as large as mountains.
So you see the problem. Imagine just how much ether can be drawn by something that size. As to where it's all going, mind? Well, I can't know everything.
Ultima, maybe?
We are taught that the Mother Crystals are divine. Their ether a gift from the heavens. For centuries, nations have fought and fallen for want of that gift. If what you say is true, how did no one else see it?
Who says they didn't? Maybe the truth was inconvenient.
Inconvenient to whom, exactly?
The kingdoms that control the Mother Crystals.
The higher-ups? The gods themselves?
So now you want to do something about the crystals. And what? We're not helping bearers and dominants anymore.
I didn't say that. I made a promise and I intend to keep it. But if we continue down this path, there's only one fate that awaits the realm. And we can't very well set our people free if they're all lying dead in a blighted ditch. Not if we want to create a place where they can live on their own terms anyway. sort of defeats the purpose. So, if we have to bring the old world crashing down in order to build us a new one, what say you?
That's cool. That's cool motivation. He plans to see the mothers fall, that Valsia might enter, people might be shaved. Might be saved, not shaved. He does not want to see his people shaved.
I suppose it's about time I repaid your faith.
You could have just said aye. But it's nice to have you aboard all the same.
A cool shot. I like how the crystal didn't shatter, they just kind of like sunk into it.
What have I got myself into? I'm going to need more than a few potions for this.
If everything we were taught about the Mother Crystals was a lie, then what else might we have been deceived about?
I'll give you two a moment to sort out your...
If everything we were taught about the Mother Crystals was a lie, then...
Here, the Lord of Nectar of the Bulge is bolder than Dion, or so I've been told.
It's nice to see the hideaway finally coming up.
I heard Otto barking at his lot earlier.
The reports from Eastpool are disturbing.
You've lost a letter. Nothing too important, I hope.
Not just a letter. I lost everything. There's a hole in my damn pack and...
It can't be that bad, sure.
How could it be any worse?
Okay, yeah.
I'm a courier. I carry things. Nothing, that's what. I buggered it right up. That means no herbs for the infirmary, and no fresh meat for our cooking pot. Worst of all, that letter I lost? It was for Sid.
Maybe if you retrace your step.
I'd scour Storm from coast to coast if I could, but there are curse breakers in the field. Counting on my... No. I'll just have to...
I'll search for the missing items.
Fine.
Are you serious?
It sounds like the hideaway could use those supplies.
Gotan's bales, perhaps? I took a tumble in the bushes when... If you can find everything... And if you can find...
If it's there.
One, I trust you can find your way to Gotan's...
I can find my way to Goldhand's pals.
I'm sure he does.
It's a regular red letter day.
Unless it won't last very long out in the elements. I should make for Sambrek as soon as I can.
To send a message, most likely.
But did she have to go so far?
I see I'm busy here.
What do you want?
Lame tongue.
No scratches, right?
So it used Stormcry.
That it? Fine.
Terrifying. So I combined the weapon I made with
He's never this late.
the item from Benedicta.
Is everything all right?
Forgive me, young man. I'm worried about my friend.
Why leave the safety of the hideaway?
For coin. The hideaway can't survive on goodwill alone. Wait. You were a soldier.
I was.
Then I ask a favour of you. I'm too old to be traipsing hither and yon.
I'll do what I can.
I'll do what I can.
Oh,
what can you tell me about you?
His name is Randall, and I suspect you'll find him in Lostwing. He's been working
Okay.
for Quinton, the tavern keeper.
I'll speak to him.
Safe travels.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. I do wish Clive would move a little faster. I think that's one complaint I have about the game. Let's head to the Orabel Downs first.
The courier said his pack might have split while he was passing through the bales. I better keep my eyes open. Good. Looks like I'm in the right area. More of the lost supplies.
This was a little too easy.
I doubt he could have fit much more in his pack. Still no sign of Sid's letter, though. We've come this far. Might as well ask around.
A little overdressed to be picking grapes, aren't you?
I'm looking for a letter someone dropped nearby. Well, if you do,
Wait, I did pass a dog with some... No idea if it was your letter. But
which way did it go?
towards Lostwing? Seemed well looked after to me.
To the village there.
Alright, a dog stole my homework. Come on, Clive, there you go. Takes so long for him to start running, too. I wish there was just like a button press, you know? Like a one prompt, and there you go, you're running.
I'll have you know, manning the village entry is no small task. There's plenty of unsafe...
It's going to be a fine harvest this year.
Hi, Kolya. Did Master Quinton summon you?
The shad's all salted and smoked, but it'll be an age before the stink's gone from the stove.
Hey, boy. You reading?
It seems we have our culprit. Sorry, boy. Someone's waiting for this. But he's waited long enough already. Hopefully this will keep our courier out of trouble.
A whole day on the line and they're still not dry.
Yeah, it's not getting a lot of sunlight. Probably a little musty smelling in this village.
What will we do for supper?
Fill our bellies with thoughts of tomorrow's.
But how did the grocer know his daughter had been stealing off to the vineyard to see the lad?
Ooh.
Purple handprints all over her skirts. That'll be enough for today. We don't need you risking the curse for a barrel of shad.
Oh, so he does care. That's good.
We haven't much, but you're free to look. hope it's to your liking. I trust it's all here. Keep fighting the good fight.
Sun's setting fast. They'll all
There
be
haven't
back
been
from
any
the vineyard
surprises since
soon.
your last visit.
Back to the tavern where Quentin is. Oh, what's this? Drink menu.
Ah, if it isn't Sid's young protege.
I'm looking for a bearer called Randall. He was expected back at the hideaway some time ago. A friend of his asked me to check on him.
Randall, you say? The porter? Yes, I know him. And I can't say I'm surprised if he has been delayed. I gave him enough to do. Though, thinking about it, he should probably have been back by now.
I'll go and look for him. Where was he headed?
He was to meet an associate of mine to the south of here, on Lorbert's Pass. I do hope nothing's happened to him. Be sure to let me know, Clive.
Yeah, a little more pep in my step.
Can I have another cup, Daddy?
None left for me.
So it took a tilt between the Wardens of Light and Dark to finally drive the Royalists from our shores. Pity it came at such a price. They say the fields of Belenus were black a full fortnight with all the ravens.
Cool. This all leads to Caer Norvin. Along the pass to Caer Norvin. I wonder if there's a point where the game will just open up and say like, yep, go wherever now.
I heard from a couple of the bearers what you did to them royalists over at the Caer. Glad you're on our side.
No problem.
The hanged man. Thank the gods we were attacked. Beastmen on the road.
What kind? Goblin, Minotaur?
The sod insisted on drawing him off.
Where did this happen?
Further down the road, please. You have to see that he's safe.
I'll do what I can.
The clearing where we were attacked.
Gotcha. You go to Lostwing and tell Randall. I'll go fight some beasties. Goblins and a Gygus.
Goblins. Why am I not surprised?
One day, and I've already forgotten certain things. Just quickly. There you go. Good. Not the cleanest fight, but it worked. Dead. Dead.
Sorry, Randall. Looks like I was too late. He doesn't deserve to rot by the roadside. I'll speak to Quint.
Fast travel to the obelisk. It's in the same region, so it should be a quick travel.
But how did the grocer know his daughter?
So it took a tilt between the Wardens of Light.
Ah, there you are. And? Damn it.
He's not far from the South Gate.
Of course. I'll send someone right away. I knew he was brave, though I didn't know he was reckless.
And you've known him long?
A while. I liked the fact that he didn't shy away from dangerous work, and he liked what I paid.
Good man, Quentin. Ooh, update to the mother crystals. Sid posits that in fact the mother crystals and their ability to draw ether from the earth is the reason for the Deadlands advance. You who learn the truth are hunted down by those in positions of power, those whose power rests on their control of this controlled resource.
Has it helped keep the hideaway afloat?
I'll tell Sid what happened here. I expect he'll be none too pleased to learn of Randall's and I suppose you're none too happy either. Sorry again.
Back to the Hanged Man. The gentleman that had the quest is... That's him.
Well, at least you're safe. Poor Randall. Damn thing. Surely his life was worth more than a handful of coin.
Well, to be fair, he saved another man. He saved someone's life, so... That's not nothing.
I heard Otto barking at his lot earlier.
Maybe I should just... Oh, there you are. I just got back to the hideaway and thankfully Otto hasn't seen me yet.
Found the things you'd... Only a little worse for wear.
Intended for delivery to the hideaway. A letter intended for delivery. All for you, my friend. All for you.
No more skulking about in the shadows for me then, and all thanks to you. Losing those supplies was one thing, but if Sid had found out about that...
Is it about Cursebreaker business?
If only. It's from his daughter.
Ooh,
She's
Sid's
off
a daughter?
studying in Canver, and her letters are all that keeps Sid safe.
You never mentioned a daughter.
Oh, He's a busy man. And thanks to you, he won't be wasting his time smiting careless couriers with levin bolts. So I'd say you did us both a service.
Cid has a daughter.
If there's anything you're wanting from Cid.
Any mention of Convert? No.
Today's the day. He'll be sweet as honey once he gets his hands on this.
Clive! You're alright! I thought you might be... Oh! Clive! You're alright!
I'm alright.
So what God's forsaken corner of the realm is Cid dragging you off to this time?
Oriflamme.
The Holy Capital. And what business would you lot having... On second thoughts, I don't want to know. You're rubbing me blind, you know. Speaking of Oriflamme, I hear the trading routes leading south have seen more than double the usual traffic. If you ask me, summat foul's brewing, and it ain't Tyre's borbile tea. Oh, just go and see Otto, will you?
All right.
Take a seat, Clive.
So you're really going through with it? Sid's been talking about bringing down a Mother Crystal since I've known him.
He's convinced it's the right thing to do. We'll be leaving for the capital shortly.
So Otto and Cid go back.
Seems the hiding the Royalists gave him wasn't enough to dampen old Sylvester's spirits. His legions are on the march again. This time, due set.
Another war.
All as the great Grieger wills it. Bloodthirsty little miss, that one. Still, might work to our advantage on this occasion. Wars breed chaos. With a fair wind behind them, a handful of like-minded ne'er-do-wells could melt into the back alleys of Oriflamme. No trouble. It's
I like the sound of that.
To the capital, that's the problem.
The checkpoint.
That's right. Anyone travelling in or out of Oriflamme has to go through Northreach. Lucky for you, I might just know of a way.
This?
Well, no, not that. That gets you an audience with the Dame. And it's the Dame who'll see you safely through Northreach. I'll send the Stolas in the morning. Let her know you're coming.
The Dame who will
We
get
go
us
way
through
back.
Northreach.
And she's a true friend of the cause. I'm sure you'll get on like a house on fire.
That's good of you, but who is this Dame?
She's the proud proprietress of Northreach's foremost house of ill repute, the Vale. And she's quite a woman, if you know what I mean.
A woman?
Don't go blinding her with your charm now, lad. I'll be expecting a full report when you get back.
What's Alliant reports unlocked? Oh. Alliant reports are now available for view by speaking to Gott at the Alliant report counter in the Hideaway's mess. The reports compiled by the Cursebreakers contain information on quests currently available across Valisthea.
I suppose that's everything. Now to find Gav.
Oh, you're the new lad, aren't you? Goat at your service. Well, at the Hideaway service anyway. Otto's put me in charge of reading through the reports sent in by our allies and picking out any problems that might warrant the attention of the Cursebreakers. And there's no shortage of problems, I can tell you. Well, maybe I don't have to. I'll warrant a strapping lad like you's got people begging him for help wherever you go. Anyway,
Pretty much.
if you're ever interested in taking a look, reckon you could probably tick off the odd thing here and there. Me?
What are you about, goat? I'll do what Otto tells me. Suppose you could say I'm his right-hand man. He's a hard master, but not nearly as hot as my old one was. When that man beat me bloody and threw me out in the streets to die, it was Otto who found me and took me in.
I see it.
Oh. So I help him look after the ledgers, as well as reading through the reports coming in from our allies across the Twins. And if it sounds like someone out there needs our help, I'll make a note, point any willing volunteers in the right direction.
So, what'd you say?
Are you willing? There's no sure way to turn Otto's frown a little less frowny.
Here you go.
There are 2 in Lost Wing. 1 in Martha's Rest.
Seen enough?
Okay, let's hit up the 2 in Lost Wing. It's just here. Had I just done this first. Ugh. Elaine.
Ah, you're Sid's man, if I'm not mistaken. Couldn't trouble you for some assistance.
That depends. What do you need?
Some new bearers from Oriflamme just arrived, and it cost Master Quinton a pretty penny to convince their owner to part with them. Man must have been a bloody tyrant. I can't get a peep out of them.
They're probably terrified of you.
You're probably... So, will you have a...
I can
try.
That'll do me. Tell them they're safe.
I'll let them know.
Appreciate it. They're sitting over there.
So you're the new arrivals. Is there anything I can get you? You're safe here. They don't punish people like us for speaking our minds.
Truly.
Oh, look at me.
I'm hungry. My sister too, we're starving.
Wait here. I'll fetch you something from the tavern.
Thank you.
I won't be long. You stay here and rest.
How did the grocer know his daughter?
I'll have 2 plates of whatever you're serving.
Sorry. We've enough mouths of our own to feed without tending to the wants of outsiders.
It's not for me. It's for some new arrivals.
Oh, my apologies. I didn't see the mark. So you're a comrade.
Come on.
In that case, you may have whatever you require. Take all the bread and...
That's really all it takes.
Of course it is. I do as Master Quinton commands.
Quinton's got some loyal
Master
followers.
Quinton commands that none of his favoured guests be left want. Well, don't...
Bread and wine. Hopefully this will be enough.
Don't tell me. Turnips for supper.
Brother, did you...
Here. Bread and wine from the tavern.
The loaf is slightly stale, the wine somewhat watered down. It will serve to fill an empty belly.
May we? Truly?
You may. Indeed. wine? That's some plum wine.
Such
Every
plenty.
regular wine.
Never in all my days.
Brother, this place is like a dream. We sat and no one shouted. We ate and more was offered.
I know. I can't believe it.
You're free now. And the next time you're hungry, you need only ask to be fed.
Thank you.
You work here. You will be put to work, but it won't be cruel. You will be fed. You will be cared for.
What happens to us now, brother?
Nothing bad, I promise. Not ever again.
Good for you guys. This is probably down below in the cellar by the winery, by the wine cellar. Sorry. Yeah.
Master Quentin will never forgive me if I don't save that crop. I want no trouble. Wait, that's... Oh,
Glory to Grieger.
You were the hanged man. If you're a friend of Master Quentin's, then perhaps you'll help me. His vineyard, Lostwing's pride and joy, has been beset by a plague of giant wasps.
And you need someone...
I do it.
No problem.
You look like you can handle that blade of yours. Please.
I'll see to it. Dying on the vine.
Good luck with those wasps. Make for Gotan's bales on the...
We'll fast travel to Orbal Downs. Awesome. Like how all the items reappeared.
A few wasps shouldn't give me too much trouble.
Ooh, a gill bug this time. Free money. Less free money, but still money.
Excellent. Let's make this quick.
Vintner wasps.
That's enough. That's enough.
Wasp beheaded. Despite the fact that I still see him kind of just fluttering right there.
Looks like that was the last of them. I better let Quentin's man.
Alright. So is there a reward, I wonder, for like doing a certain amount of quests? So those two bears are gone. Curious if we'll just see them out and about.
But how did the grocer know his daughter?
I thought I'd been stealing off to the vineyard to see the lad. The Bilham Prince. Oh.
Those wasps won't be interfering with your harvest anymore.
Oh, thank you. Our Gotan Rouge fetches a handsome price
Gotan
among the rich
Rouge.
and powerful of the realm. We use that money to keep our comrades fed and imperial wolves from our door. The vineyards were Master Quentin's idea. He wanted to give bearers a place to work.
Well,
I'll see that he hears of your kindness.
I'm actually okay with that. I want to try out this new ability. Ooh. Oh, I saw that. Wine making.
Bet you'd like to see what's behind that door, wouldn't you? Well, not on my watch.
That's mysterious. And there was only one quest in Martha's Rest, right?
It's true. Burned to the ground. The whole village. Imperial scum. If there was any justice in this world, they would swing.
The tavern. It's done for. I've seen your face before. You're a friend of Martha's. Help us.
Help you with what?
Bandits in the Golden Stables. They're waving their swords around. When I saw what was happening, I slipped out the back.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'll help you.
Thank you.
How many were there?
I was out of the door too fast. They looked a nasty bunch, though.
While the cat's away, the mice will play. That kind of deal.
They can't get away with this. If people start thinking Martha's gone soft, every bandit in Rosaria will think we're fair game.
Oh, here we go. I'll get to try a brand new ability. Hopefully.
Ha! Golden Stables, my ass. All Martha's hiding back here is coppers. Oh, that's a fine sword, friend. Heavy, though, I expect. What say we relieve you of it? Get him, lads. I want that blade.
Let's get this over with.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's enough.
Cool. Not much. 28 gil, 4 ability points. Not a lot.
I'll be keeping my blade, thank you.
Grand scheme, but
There he is, the hero.
People will think twice about pushing us around again. No good cowards wouldn't have dared set foot in the place if I'd been here, of course.
But you weren't. I thought you told me you had someone watching the play.
The Blood Axes keep an eye on the tavern when they're not busy keeping the peace, that is. I've spread them as thin as they'll go. The Empire might be in charge, but that don't mean they care to keep us safe. If it weren't for the Blood Axes and me, merchants won't come near these lands to...
I see. Then you do Rosaria a great service.
Just as you did today.
thanks. I need no reward. Killing bandits is enough of a joy for
And
me.
there'll be a mug of something tasty waiting for you whenever you next stop by.
Right, we've got work to do for to make this place presentable.
I wouldn't mind being armed with a mop. Go check out my playthrough of Legend of Zelda. I used a mop to kill a number of enemies. I'm very handy with a mop. Like Spike in the Bebop movie.
The man of the hour. You're the one who saw off the bandits, aren't you? Takes a brave man to march into danger out of the goodness of his heart. You have my respect.
A Rosarian salute.
Oh, what is it they say? Old habits die hard. I trust you won't be reporting me to the Viceroy. If we'd had a few more like you about, perhaps the Rosfields might still... Listen to me.
The Rosfields still yet live.
It's just a shame I didn't get here sooner. It would have been an honor to see you fight.
We could make a fortune selling our swords out in the east, you know.
Yeah, maybe even enough to pay for our coffins to be shipped back home.
That's so morbid.
It's true. Burn to the ground.
I hear they were hiding brandy that didn't belong to them. Well, that's just thievery. Sounds like they got what they deserved.
Ah, the slumbering chocobo. Welcome to the...
Alright, let's go talk to Sid and see what the next stage of this quest is. Heading to Oriflamme to...
Well, 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 someone's in a hurry.
Just following orders.
Funny, I never took you for the type.
Can't all be as obedient as you, Gav.
Eh?
Ah, we've made a friend!
Fine day for a little mischief.
Like, I'm fine if Sid dies. I love Sid's character in this.
Is this all of us?
But I feel like that's where his story is heading towards. I really like Gav, and I don't want Gav to die.
Just the three of us, then?
Drakeshead is the keystone of the Empire. Oriflamme's in chaos, yes, but that doesn't mean we can march an army through her gates. The fewer our numbers, the better our chances of going unnoticed. And should that plan fail, well, we have our icons to fall back on.
Sid, I don't know if I can. Ifrit still seems to come and go as he pleases.
Ordinarily, priming an icon comes naturally to a dominance.
Ifrit's a bit of a wild child, though.
But then you are no ordinary dominance.
Well, he's still got the blessing of the Phoenix, doesn't he?
Not to mention what he sucked out of Garuda. And did I ever tell you about how he was once the greatest shield in Rosaria? You know, I reckon he could probably cut us a path out of the capital on his own if need be.
Oh, I can.
Let's try not to find out.
We're less likely to be spotted if we travel separately. I'll meet you in Northreach in a few days. You two behave now.
Alright, and just Gav, just say like, hey Gav, you're in charge until we get back. No? Dang it, I keep going to Lost Wing. My third time here in this one stream. They're looking for a missing person and finding missing items.
We're meeting in Northreach. But will I find Sid and Jill before this dame finds me?
I think it's now time to head this way. Oh, wait.
In case you were wondering, the boys finally cleared the road to Northreach.
There you go.
But
I
there's no
was.
need to hurry, is there? I can think of a few reasons you might want to linger.
But how did the grocer know his dog?
Sun's setting fast. They'll all be back from the vineyard soon.
Yeah, that was a completely... That was all caved in before.
Is it safe to ride to Northreach now?
I wouldn't say safe, but at least now.
It was sealed off from that side. Player view. Okay, at least I have Torgal with me. God, this look at that. This looks nuts. And it intercepted the damage. That's what it meant. Oh, that's so cool.
Keep your distance, boy.
Good.
Not this time.
Good. Almost there. There you go. It's such an insane looking power.
That's enough. It's over.
Okay, the two interactions I'm anticipating the most are me and Lord Margrace, whoever that is. I believe I know who it is. And our mother. Those are the two that I'm... Clive and Joshua, and Clive and... Oh boy. That's a big area. Head south first. Wild chocobos. Raptors. Raptors.
Finished.
I like how they are so bird-like. They're velociraptors. Good job, buddy. Advent. Like Advent Children? I don't know. Ooh, a fallen chest. Black blood, weirite, and fangs. Alright. Like when I find a chest, I expect something cool, not just something you can farm. Not just 10 mediocre things, you know? Antelopes. Les Routes not. So that's the bottom of Caer Norvin. Them gathered on a dead antelope. Don't wake up, sleeping dragon. What's the Harry Potter term? Never tickle a sleeping dragon or something? I don't know. Can't go down there. Does this mean I could have just fast traveled to the Caer Norvin Gate and You know, Caer Norvin does not look like it's in bad shape, I will say. After everything that happened there. Like, there's some structural damage to the top, but overall, Great shape, great condition. Pew pew. This doubles back around to the area where I fought Garuda last time. I can see some devastation there. The Dragon's Eyrie. Something I want to check. They have these big open plains, and I already have a theory. I've complained about Clive's walking speed. His running speed's alright, and if you could switch between them at will, I think I'd be okay with that. I think we're gonna get a Chocobo. I think we're gonna get Ambrosia. Okay, so I can't go and see where I think Benedicta's body is. Where Clive left Benedicta's body. And this area was completely blocked off last time. It's not blocked off right now, though.
Imperial Watchtower. Should be well stocked.
East wall.
You! Identify yourself!
Kestrel's Break Braid. I have a bunch. Will o' the Wind, Rook's Gambit, Will o' the Wind, Wicked Wheel. The Griffin's Head Braid. Increased Burning Blade damage by 7%. While it is true that the large felines make a home in the Dhalmekian desert, tales of a flying lion with a mane of living flame and a rage just as hot are fallacious. Most likely the result of a chance encounter with a long-haired cat, ill-starred enough to have been caught in a brush fire. Raptor, increased down thrust. Okay, Flaming Blade and down thrust, cool. I like increasing my gouge damage. Yeah, you know what? I took out a quick little Imperial Watchtower. And whatever forces were stationed, garrisoned within. I want to see where these big birds are in the middle.
Northreach.
Vulture.
Space.
The raptors, I see wild chocobos.
Let's make this quick.
The embrace. Where I came from, but snag as many shinies as I can. Now let's head into the Northreach.
Soldiers used to speak of a brothel, but that was north of the checkpoint. I hope the dame has friends in the south.
much for this one?
What did you say was in these pies again?
Welcome, good... Back off, Branded. Can't you see I'm with a customer?
Oh, and a chine of roast antelope.
Like a plum for the apple of your eye.
Keep your hands to yourself. No one will buy anything that's been soured by a Branded's touch.
With reds, whites, ales, meads, ciders, berries.
The fruit's not getting any fresher.
And what can I do for you? Come back again.
You want something, you come back with your master. I won't sell to some stray brat.
Each one is handcrafted from the finest.
Begone! The gate's for citizens, not serfs.
Royal Meadows.
Saw it last time I was through the wall. Jutting up from the waves like the mane of some giant beast. I heard tell. It's the work of an icon.
Might be Shiva. I heard the Ironblood lost her on their campaign in the Republic.
Hopefully we don't get seen doing that. Get accused of stealing.
A moment, my lady.
A moment? I doubt you could afford even that much of my time. Branded.
My mistake.
No, mine. Upon reflection, you don't have the scent of a Branded about you. The flowers. Otto always did know how to please me. More than Sid ever did anyway. Do you think you could please me, Clive?
You're the dame.
Let us leave such impersonal titles to my less preferred.
Isabel. Proprietress of the Vale, Northreach's foremost house of ill repute, and one of Sid's most trusted collaborators. Admired by the populace for her elegance and refinement, qualities that earned her the title of the Dame. Northreach. Town which doubles as a defensive gateway to Sonbreck's holy capital of Oriflame. It was originally a purely military outpost, a towering bastion constructed to prevent land-based assaults on the capital. To this day, a heavily guarded checkpoint ensures that none can pass through the wall without proper authorization, and as such, the need to linger here prior to entering has led the rise of a thriving market and various other commercial enterprises to the wall's southern side. The garrison, however, along with the inns and brothels most of the soldiers frequent.
You can call me Isabel. Otto assured me I could trust you. I can trust you, can't I?
I wish we got to make more inroads ourselves. We go to Lostwing and meet one of Sid's contacts in Quentin. We go to Martha's Rest and meet one of Sid's contacts in Martha. We go to Northreach and meet the Dame, another of Sid and Otto's.
No one else would. I have never forgotten that. Without it, I would not be where I am today. And so, I make it a point to do the same whenever possible. Which brings us here. To the final obstacle between you And whatever it is you seek in the holy capital. I fear the guards are not likely to let a masterless bearer pass unmolested. Unless...
Unless...
Unless, of course, his master deigned to appear. Yes, that will do nicely. But I shall expect a favor in return.
Oh dear.
Wait, what?
Can I just fight and kill them all?
Have you no other bearers? Those two look rather... used.
Used? Yes, but spent? Hardly. They've both at least a good year left in them.
However do they get that colour?
Are you gonna buy something or not?
I... truly detestable.
Tut tut. We cannot have people thinking I tolerate disobedience from my branded.
The men who gave me this are no more my masters than you are. But... it's not as if I can hide it.
From the moment you acquired it, that brand has done naught but take. But today, it is going to give you exactly what you want. Just play along.
Madame,
Just...
back to the Vale already?
But of course, we must make ready to welcome you, my dear.
And who might this be?
Why, my new escort. The streets aren't safe for a girl, what with all the royalists about.
Well, don't work him too hard.
Well, that rather depends on you now, doesn't it? I'll see you all at sunset.
Just being open about it.
Oi, hold up. Another fucking branded. Well, you're lucky you're with the dame. Now get out of my sight, filth.
That wasn't so bad.
Wasn't so bad. They might have recognized me.
Yeah.
But they didn't. And even if they had, they wouldn't have done anything about it. The gentlemen of the garrison are some of my best customers. We have an arrangement, as do you and I. Now, if you'd care to follow me, we can speak more at the Vale.
Doesn't seem like I have much of a choice.
Just walk away. Just go this way. Ah, choice.
That's the day done then. Drinks and the Vale.
How about the Vale, then drinks?
Higgins.
What are you bleeding shit-a-bed bearer?
It's not been half a moon since Bellen's tour, and they'd have us march again.
That's what we signed up for.
What is that? Oh gosh. Alright, so that's the holy capital. Baywatch. Cool. That's West One. Wait till I reunite my party to go exploring. Nope, just had a feeling.
Word is that the legions are readying to march again. Men and their swords.
My cousin in the capital said they lost one of the wolves to an ether flood.
It was a good thing they got more than one then, eh?
You! Where the devils who dwell upon western shores? His Radiance did command a great legion across the Grace for to rid the realm of this stain, yet none did return.
Yep.
Devoured all by the...
Oh, grandfather, stop bothering this poor man and eat your supper.
Well then, I suppose you'll need a little something to remember me by.
And I suppose I'll need to get my coin purse.
Alright, good on you, bugger.
Think I might see you tonight?
That depends on how much you like to see.
Alright, my guy.
And if anyone requests her company, tell them she is feeling unwell.
Madame, you look stunning.
As do you, my dear.
Shall I have one of the girls draw a bath?
That won't be necessary. Clive, my darling, welcome to the Vale.
Alright. New Alliant. It has its own little grotto.
Through the gates.
Well, that was the whole point, wasn't it? And I told you, it's Isabel. Whatever wound you so tight, I wonder.
You, mentioned a favor. What is it you'd have me do? I don't want to keep my companions waiting.
If you mean Sid and the girl, you needn't worry. They have yet to reach the checkpoint. Yes, Otto asked me to help them as well. But to answer your question, I need you to find someone for me. Tatienne has been gone for several days now.
I feel as if I've spent my whole life searching for people.
I trust you'll do your best. Oh, and take this.
The mark. Yep. The moon and stars. It's a new seal.
Proof of that trust, and hopefully enough to keep prying eyes from looking too closely. Now, I have matters to attend to at the Iron Flagon.
$1,200 gil for completing as well.
I should probably start here.
If the dame has given you her trust, then you have ours as well. Know you are always welcome here at the Vale.
You wear the dame's brooch. She must trust you.
Enough to have me look for one of your colleagues. A woman by the name of Tatienne.
She's still missing. Oh, if only I'd comforted.
You saw her before she disappeared.
The day before. She was in tears. She'd
Why?
lost her comb. It wasn't anything fancy, but you could tell it meant the world to her. You see, Tatienne was an orphan, and she looked upon the dame as a mother.
So she was upset.
And I didn't lend her my shoulder. Tatienne shared a room. Her chambermaid may have seen something.
Thank you. Let's see what her chambermaid can tell us.
Yeah, let's be safe and do a little bit more of the main story.
So you're the new escort, and you've already been sent off on an errand, eh? Poor boy. You'll be knackered before the real work begins.
I'm told you share a bedchamber with Tati. Did she?
Before she went missing. Only that she needed to meet with someone. She did mention a name, but I know exactly who she meant.
You do?
Lad from the garrison. Annoying little shit. Spent every guil he earned on Tatienne, and picked fights with anyone else who tried to buy her time. Followed her around like a lost puppy. Tatienne was flattered at first, but it didn't take long for her to get scared. She thought about saying something. But the dame was so proud of her for how much she was bringing in.
This man from the garrison.
Of course I did. He tried to sneak into our room enough times. Slimy sod's got a scar over one eye.
You've been very helpful.
Don't let him get away with this.
A man from the garrison. Seems a trip to the barracks is in order.
I haven't seen you around the Vale of late.
Excuse me, you there? The gentleman with the sword?
Etienne?
I cannot help but notice you bear the moon and star. Might I trouble you for some assist?
And who exactly would I be assisting?
Oh, forgive me. I am Etienne, a humble merchant. I have
Okay.
business beyond these walls, but the guards have grown somewhat suspicious of my comings and going. And who better than someone in the employ of the Vale's proprietor? Would you be willing to help a fellow in his hour of need?
What?
Marvelous. The task is simple enough. Pass through the gate.
Easy enough.
There are 3 in total. A grocer, an apothecary.
Nothing dangerous.
Why, of course not. And though I cannot prevent you strongly.
A want be on the wall. Quick little fetch quest. Drop off 3 packages at 3 locations.
The markets are a veritable middle.
You're one of the dames, I see. Well, you'd best be back to the Vale.
Greetings. You are one of the dames chosen, I see.
Sergeant's got it in for us two. As if either of us needs to brush up on our swordcraft.
Leon.
Where's your commanding officer branded? Don't you know the training grounds are for real soldiers?
Well, you lost or something? Sorry, but the Imperial Guard's got no use for your kind. The infantry always needs...
I'm just passing through.
I don't bloody believe it. The bastard's wearing the moon and stars.
Yeah.
It'll be why he's strutting about like...
The Dane laughed when we offered her our protection. You reckon this prick's really worth a couple of the Emperor's finest?
How about it, Branded?
I'd rather not.
Oh, no doubt. Only chivalrous souls that we are.
Robin and
Robin
Leon.
and I need to know the dame's being...
Fine. Let's kick your asses.
Fine.
Oh, and just so you know, take a moment to get ready if...
Pride comes before a fall. Is it my pride or theirs?
Now.
Yeah.
Oh, and when you go crying to your mistress, tell her it was Leon who gave you the pounding. Use all the dirty tricks you want, Branded.
Nah, I'm good.
know one end of a block from here. I'll not fall to the likes of you. Enough. I yield.
Whoa, what? You just said I yield.
Too slow.
Fuck me.
What the hell are you playing at, Leon? Ah, so it's a real challenge he wants, is it? Fine.
Let's go, Robbie.
Sword up, bearer. Let's have some fun, shall we? How'd a bearer win the Dane's favour anyway?
By knowing when to hold my tongue for a start.
Got potential. I'll give you that.
I'm gonna walk towards him. That's amazing.
Can I go now?
Gregor's gas. The bastard didn't even break a sweat.
The dame's man or no, he's still a branded. Best hope the sergeant never hears about this.
Yeah, not after the bullocking he gave us for missing drills. Might be the old sod had a point.
I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, good bloody riddance.
Do us a favour. If you have to tell the dame about this, tell her we got a good few hits.
Okay, Robin, that was funny.
The Emperor's finest, thrashed by a branded. The sergeant may be a surly bastard, but he had our number, all right. Extra drills it is, then.
Yeah, on second thought, maybe don't mention this to the dame. We wouldn't want you getting into trouble for brawling now, would we?
Heard the bones fell favourably. To the Vale, then, is it?
What do you think? Nothing like a quick tump.
I don't know how a bearer came by the moon and stars.
Matthew, Oriflamme
Yes, I
official.
found you. Can I trust you to be discreet?
About what?
About this. About what I wish to ask of you. About the fact that I, a humble creature, assist the Dame of the Vale in her endeavours. As unlikely as it may seem, there are those within the upper echelons of Samberquois society who find the Empire's treatment of bearers to be barbaric.
All right.
This town is carried upon the backs of its bearers, and yet many would see their servants starve, not for the want of coin. Simple fare cost little more than a pittance, but to revel in the suffering of others. Contemptible though it is, my countrymen would sooner cut off their noses to spite their faces, and despite my best attempts at secrecy, my efforts to dole out comestibles have been noticed. Which brings me to my request. The brat...
Big deliveries of food.
Oh, thank you. An extra here.
Deliver some food in secret.
What food I can provide goes where the need is greatest. 3 bearers, overworked and under...
It's no wonder so much.
Tragic. True, but do not let anger make you careless. Be discreet for both our sakes.
You won't be
I'm afraid not. I am expected back in the capital.
Cool. You know what? That's a solid quest. I like you, guy. You're a good dude. And it shows that not everyone in Sanbreque is
bad enough.
A monster. Roll call. Morning prayer. Rounds. Striking dummies. Midday rations. The butts. 10 quivers. Armored sparring. Kit maintenance. Groundskeeping.
Let people starve as well.
That's the day done then. Drinks.
Don't think I haven't got my eye on you, Brandon.
With the right
You there! Fancy a drop? Come, treat yourself.
The dame get her hooks into you then. Fresh fish, whole racist.
I warn you now, I don't sell to your kind, whether you have the coin or not. Where's your master anyway?
Etienne sent me.
Didn't know he had his own bearer. Business must be... That is no better. And this...
Right, yeah.
All this for a drink.
Not just any drink. The very best. The guards find that. They'll seize it before you can blink. Etienne likes it. Tell him there's more.
Of course.
If I learn you let the guards find that bottle, you'll have me to answer to.
Just because you're wearing the dame's brooch, don't mean I have to serve you.
I have no business with Brand.
Well, I have business with you. A package. Fresh from the master's table.
I do not know you. Where is the merchant, Etienne?
Somewhere the gate guards won't be paying him or his affairs, and he might.
Fine. Hand over the goods.
Man. I was a lordling.
Lighter than usual.
I can always take it back.
You will do no such thing. Your master, had you been the tool of any other man, I would see you clapped in payment.
Cigars.
Those cigars. Speak of this to anyone, and there'll be nightshade.
There's nothing here for your kind, Branded.
I have a delivery from Etienne.
You're there, just hammering home
Why didn't you say
how much I should hate these people.
Sorry about the welcome. Meant nothing.
Some people just put on the mask. But he's clearly a racist.
Yeah. You can tell Etienne I'm a man of my word.
I get not racist. I guess just a piece of crap.
Oriflamme's finest.
Perfume, cigars, and spirits. Someone has expensive tastes. The question is, how can they afford to maintain them? I suppose there's only one way to find out.
I'll be dead in it.
The fruit's not getting any fresher. No one's allowed through the gate.
Here should be.
I suppose
A delivery to Etienne.
I believe these are yours.
Box of cigars, essence of rose, and brandy wine.
Delightful. The dame will be pleased.
You don't say. And would she be pleased to learn what you had to exchange for those items?
You mean the crystals? No need to be coy, my boy.
Why not just tell me in the first place?
An honest man wears deception like shackles about his ankles. I couldn't risk you stumbling. After all, we both know the punishment for dealing in unsanctioned crystals. And if you don't know what this day's work may have cost you, then, well, despite the risk, our friends beyond the wall gladly give their finest and most treasured wares.
I didn't realize crystals were so scarce here.
As scarce as chocobo teeth. Do you think it vulgar that I profit from...
I think you're doing what you believe is necessary.
Yeah, indeed. A reward for a job well done.
There you go. Thank you.
I thank you. I'm happy to see my trust in you was not misplaced.
Did one of them get on this side of the gate?
Another one of the Dane's pets. Why must you?
Let them off the leash.
These crystals here are for citizens only.
I don't need crystals, you pansy.
Are you waiting for it to heal on its own? Hurry up!
Looks like now's not the time. You look like you need a rest.
Good.
Not half as much as I need this. Thank you.
Mistreated bear.
I don't eat it here, though. Has it always been this bad? Oh, it was worse before the Chamberlain. I'd be dead without him. That's something, Ali.
It's not been on for moons since Belen's tour. I need others market.
Another her master's gone.
From the Chamberlain. You need to leave.
Branded! Who told you? And you! If you've got a message for me, out with... Get out of my forge. If I'd wanted enough...
Enough! You'll work faster next time.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks like you need...
The Chamberlain must have sent you, but alas, my work is far from over.
You need to rest.
But I won't. I've wounds to heal and bones to mend.
And what of your own hurt?
And wait. That's when my hunger.
Oh, man. He's just broken.
A drover has more regard for his cattle than the Empire does its bearers. Anyway, I'd better head to the Vale.
Heard the bones fell favorably.
I'm looking for a man with a scar over his eye.
Looking for a man? Does this look like a brothel, Branded?
Hold your tongue. He wears the dame's brooch. One word from him and the Vale's doors will be barred to us for good.
There's only one man in the garrison with a dodgy eye. His name's Yannick.
Yannick.
On account of him being in Moor. Yeah, Yannick left a few days back.
The Dame, thank you. Moor is the last village on the road to Oriflamme. I should let Isabel know where I'm headed.
Greetings. You are one of the dames.
Clive, tell me you bear good tidings.
That remains to be seen.
Did he make off with her? Did they leave together? Did he kidnap her?
Oh, Tatienne, you could have told me.
This Yannick. The soldiers I spoke to believe he's in the village of Moor. According to them, he claimed to have some business with a merchant there. but that wouldn't explain his continued absence.
And you plan on traveling to Moor to ascertain the truth?
Isn't that what you want?
Oh, it is, but I fear sending you there may cause more harm than good. The people of
More
Moor
harm?
are rather set in their way. You'll find they have little love for bearers. There is a man in Moor who owes me. His name is Bertrand, and he works at the stable.
I shall return as soon as I find something.
See what I mean? It's just a person sends you to find another person, sends you to find another person.
All right. Are you here for business?
Business, though not my own.
Ah, so he found someone to help. Just as well. I hear his friends back at court have been taking a little too much interest.
So he really is a chamberlain.
There was a time when he was the Vale's most illustrious customer. Us girls thought of him as a generous uncle.
Oh,
He was one of the
uncle.
only people round here who seemed bothered by the way the Empire treats its bearers.
Rare for one in his position.
A fact not wasted on the dame. A little nudge from her is all it took, and he became the patron saint of Northreach's starving masses. My sisters and I may have lost an uncle, but bearers are being fed for a change, so we don't grumble.
Glad to hear it.
Gives you faith, though, doesn't it? It's no wonder the dame's got a soft spot for you.
I better be go.
Aw. Alright. Alright, so now it looks like we can... That's what that gap is. It's a small village.
The Dame may have given you leave to walk freely about Northridge. But one step outside these walls.
Oriflamme, how many bearers suffer to keep your granaries full? There's a good boy.
Good. Tiny chip damage is so great.
Get him, boy!
That's enough for today, Branded.
Go on, back to the pens with you. I need you fit for the morrow's harvest.
Back to the pens. They're kept in pens.
That's enough dallying, you two.
Up, the lot of you. There's still work to be done.
It's set.
Have you seen my cloak? I let her out of her pen while I think she's lost.
I can't promise I'll find her.
She's beautiful white hair, and she likes walking in the wheat. Oh, she must be starving.
In that case,
Playthings. Is it a toy that she
It's a lot
dropped?
of field to search. With a little luck, someone might have seen her.
Chloe always comes back. Always. But she's never been this late before.
When the ones the capital sends us are already ours.
You work these fields?
A branded. And an outsider at that, judging by the lack of manners. Why should I help you?
Because a girl from the village asked me to find her.
Chloe, is it? Oh, little Lisette's plaything. Last I saw, the filthy creature was sniffing about the windmill. That girl's old enough to know she should tie her pet up when she's finished playing with it.
Oh my god.
Off with you now.
I have a bad feeling that I think I know what's going on. I hope I'm wrong.
Chloe? More brown than white. You're not Chloe, are you, girl?
Yeah, I think it's a branded, it's a human.
Nothing on the job. I hope they don't mind the interruption.
A branded is her pet. Oh my god, that's messed up. Dead child, holy.
The crystal's curse.
Chloe, I was calling you. Didn't you hear me?
What?
Get up now. You've slept long enough. It's time to go home. Chloe? Why did you already turn into a rock? I only made you do a bit of magic. You knew you were my favorite. None of the other Chloes had pretty hair.
What the hell, game?
Dad gives me another one. I have to wait until they're too tired to work anymore.
Is that all she was to you? A plaything?
She's not dead. She's a rock.
That? The crystal's curse? That's just how she died. And now she's gone forever. Giving another bearer her name won't change that.
No, don't say that.
It's true. And without that brand, she would have been just another girl. Somebody's daughter.
Good.
Just like you.
It's traumatized this child.
Dad said bearers don't have parents.
They do. Parents that give them away. Families they'll never see again. But you became Chloe's family when you took her in.
There you go. Good. We made a girl cry. Thank God. That's the realest we've been towards a person. That's the most assertive we've been, and it was towards a child who we made cry. A child who was a monster and had kept a human being as a pet and deserved it, but...
The lot of you. There's still work to be... You heard me. Shift your asses. You, Brandon. Here, now.
Benoit.
You're late. What kept you?
Late for what?
Did they tell you nothing? Well, don't just...
All right.
My. He's over that way, towards the...
For someone whose son's in mortal danger, he didn't seem all that worried. Something's not right here. I need to be careful.
The wolf! It's going to eat me!
But if I can help it... Stay back. I'll deal with this.
Give them all you've got, boy.
Rabid wolf. That seemed a little too simple for a quest here. What's actually going on?
Wolfie, you are supposed to die! Father will have you whipped for this! Bearers aren't supposed to when they...
What is this? Your father said you were being attacked.
You're not supposed to talk. Stop looking at me like that. We were only having fun.
Having fun?
Why are you still speaking?
Punch him.
Father will hear of this.
Dennis the Noble Scion.
The wolf's work, no doubt. But it's not the wolf that's to blame.
I mean, look who you hired.
Put an end to this.
Look who you hired to do this. This man's a giant with a sword the size of your body. With my own giant wolf, twice the size of Wolfie.
You, Brandy, come here this instant. How dare you frighten my son? You slaughtered that wolf was trained. Better, you are the entertainment, nothing more. And we are most certain.
Nor am I. You'll pay for...
See? I told you, he talks too much. It's not right. I don't like him, Father.
My father's going to hear about this.
Not the branded I bought, are you? How dare you deceive me? Well, the sins of the slave are the sins of the master.
That unlucky wretch would be the dame. I can summon her if you like. Though I doubt she would welcome the interruption.
You serve the dame. Why would a woman of her caliber...
You look afraid. Well, how do you think those bearers in the field felt? Can you imagine their fear? Their pain? From the look of you, I'd say you're starting to get an idea of the first. Now, if you need help with the second...
Father, he's scaring me.
You think to threaten us, Branded?
Can't we just buy another hound? A bigger one, a better one.
Of course, my son. I'll have the villagers fetch us another.
I'm wasting my time. I can't just leave those bearers lying up. That much I can do it. How many bearers have lost their lives to this nobleman's sport?
Yeah, they're... I mean, at this point, they're just trying to make me hate them more. God, they're so young.
More victims of the nobles' games. You must be Clive.
How do you know my name?
The Dame. I'm in her service. Never gets any easier.
Is that what you're here to...
The mistress has me see to it that none are left to the crows. Since you're here, can you give me a hand?
Gladly. Let's put them to rest.
That was a messed up quest line. I hate this village. I haven't even been into the village proper yet, and I hate it. Very curious as to what that structure is right there. It doesn't look like a crystal.
Finally be lifted. I take it you slew the nobleman's pet?
I did. Now I expect they'll find another soon enough. How can they think so little of sending us to the slaughter?
Simple. Because you are not there. Bearers are tools when they're needed, and toys when they're not. And if one breaks, well, you can always buy another. Still, such attitudes don't always go unpunished.
Father! Father!
Ha!
Is this your doing?
Of course not. Wolves kill. It's in their nature. Invite one into your home, it's gonna tear your throat out eventually. Same with bearers. Fed or not, they don't lack for fangs. What will
Yeah.
folk do when they bite back, I wonder? The realm's nest of murderous bastards, and I won't mourn the loss. Here.
Thanks, Raymond. I like you. You just got a father and son killed, and I am all about it.
Take it. You never know. Our paths may cross again. Till then.
It was messed up. Messed up quest line. House, then village, then Baywatch, Westwatch. Bunch of blood stains. All right.
Had another branded drop in the field yesterday.
If the people of Moor are as intolerant as Isabel says, it's no wonder the Empire never sent my unit here.
What do you want? Good riddance.
Are you Bertrand? The dame sent me.
Sounds about right. Only time I hear from her is when she wants something. Well, go on then.
One of her courtesans has gone missing. A soldier who may have information on her whereabouts is rumored to have come here to meet with a trader.
Many traders stopped to peddle their wares on their way to the capital, but only one's been seen quarrelling with a soldier.
Is he still here?
The trader? Oh, yeah. Stubborn sod stood his ground till... If you seek him out, fact is, folks round here would sooner hang a branded than help, and that's even with the dame's broke.
Understood.
If you want my advice, find the merchant quick and speak to him.
Weren't expecting any new branded until the new moon. You don't think he's a deserter, do you?
What's this? A branded?
I come to you from Northreach, at the back.
Why, of course.
Rumor has it you were seen arguing with a soldier.
Yeah, he had a comb which he claimed was an antique. But old though it was, an antique it most certainly was not, as I told him. I stood firm, however.
So he stole her comb to sell it, and she ran to chase.
He still purchased a new comb.
And do you know where he went after them?
My customers aren't usually in the habit of telling me whither they are bound. But as it happens, this one did.
My thanks.
Not at all. Be sure...
You are fortunate to have fallen into the dame's good graces.
Curious. My curiosity bites me constantly. If you watched my any of my Legend of Zelda playthrough, you know how frequently I got distracted by, like, everything. Oh, there's a Imperial Church up here. We're right here. We're right near the capital. Fallen ruins.
It smells of death here, Torgal. Wolves. We can't let you get any closer to the village.
A lot of dead people.
Flames to me! That's enough.
A bloated wolf. There you go. And then there's numerous corpses over here.
Damn it all. Bodies. A man and a woman. Well, the wolves have been busy. But the blood is long dry.
The antique comb. Antique comb.
Tatien.
If that's true, then the body next to hers will be Yannick's. The girl Yannick went off to see every night. You said her name was Tatien.
You. Did you follow me?
Now, why would I do that? Unless you think I'd have good reason to. But no. I was sent to find Yet by the looks of things.
We both found who we were searching.
Yeah, he was a jealous sod. Couldn't stand the thought of his woman with someone else. Then one day he sees her with a new comb. Thinks she's got herself a new gallant. Tells the garrison he's going to find the man and kill him. We know it's all talk, but then he disappears off to Moor for some dealings and doesn't come back.
If you mean this comb, it was a gift from the dame.
If only Yannick had gone to ask, eh? He might not be rotting on it.
I think he meant to ask her something else. He stole the old comb and bought her a new one in the hope they'd wed.
Wed? Where would they have gone? Certainly not back to North, and we all know what happens to deserters. Tell the dame I'm sorry for her lot. When the lads come to collect Yannick's body,
yeah,
I'll see that Tatien is delivered to the...
Is that why?
Oh, there won't be any covering up this mess. The most we can hope for is that the dame doesn't hold it against us. Speaking of which...
Yeah.
I saw her in Moor just now. Could you tell her what happened?
So he got jealous, stole her comb.
Perhaps the comb will give her something to remember Tatien by. Not much chance I'd make it through the Penitent's Gate without someone recognizing me as a deserter. Cid had better have a plan.
The Penitent Gate.
Expecting any new branded until the new moon.
If it was...
There you go.
You are still in one piece. You will be pleased to hear that your they said they would meet you at a little chapel to the east.
Oh, God, found that already?
Thank you, but I was on my way to...
You found her then?
I'm sorry. He got her killed. Because instead of trying to propose in the safety of town, he did it in a wolf-infested wood den? I don't know.
My dear Tatien. It is by no means uncommon for a client to fall for a courtesan, but rarely do such tales have happy endings.
I found this with Tatienne.
Thank you for returning it. I shall see that it has a place on her pyre.
That's another sad story. God, this country sucks.
I should go.
Fail. Those who own and manage bear slaves, the bear must always obey the orders of his or her master. Forbidden from acting independently, even when speaking without express permission. Not far from the Sambroquois capital of Oriflamme, Heredza harbors strong hatred for bears even more than elsewhere in the Empire.
Before you do, the Vale counts among its patrons several high-ranking officers of the Imperial Army. According to one of the looser-tongued gentlemen, it would appear that the legions are planning to march south.
Not to mention the same thing.
But did he mention that it was all of the legions? This is no mere skirmish. Were I to guess, I'd say the Emperor planned to abandon the capital, but that couldn't possibly be true.
I will.
You see, that wolf quest had the chance to incorporate Torgal into it, because like we have a giant wolfhound traveling with us. Righting wrongs. The wrought iron gates have opened to us. Probably a sight easier for Jill and Sid to get in. I mean, Jill at least. I don't know about Sid. Sid's probably a pretty wanted man.
Any trouble on the way?
None worth mentioning.
As I was telling Jill, it's worse than I thought. The capital's crawling with soldiers.
And here I am, the deserter come home.
Which is why we'll be taking the back door.
Cool shot. Are we gonna have a full party of 4? Oh, is this the capital? The pleasure houses of Oriflamme. Cool. How did we get in? Drake's Head, a mother crystal situated on the Sea of Grace in the northern Zabrak. Drake's Head towers over the holy capital of Oriflamme, its mighty form a testament to the power and permanence of the Empire. However, mysterious ether floods and the specter of the ever-encroaching blight have led some in power to call that permanence into question. A large theocracy home to the Mother Crystal Drake's Head. The Empire is ruled by the Holy Emperor, the one true goddess made flesh. Served unquestionably by the Dragon Knights. Yeah. Hanging out in a brothel.
Cheer up, you two. Can't think of a safer place in the Empire than a...
Oh boy.
brothel.
Yeah.
Really? Doesn't seem very private.
So then, how do we proceed?
Yeah, it's just everything's in the open.
Let's go. Tonight, just after sunset.
Where the shards are loaded for transport. That is one of the most heavily guarded points in all of Sambrec.
But not the most, which is a start. Besides, I know a shortcut straight to the heart.
A shortcut?
Another of his famed
How
shortcuts.
exactly did you come to know about this fatal chink in the Empire's armor?
Let's just say I may have attempted something similar before. And may have ended up running for dear life after being discovered by Bahamut, but that's not important.
Glass basket.
Sid, if the Mother Crystals truly are the cause of the Blight...
If? You wound me, Jill.
What I'm trying to say is, if the powers that be know all of this, why do they sit idle and allow it to continue?
In case you haven't noticed, the God-fearing people of this realm and their pious leaders care for but one thing, themselves.
Yeah.
And they'll do whatever it takes to hold on to power. The rest of us are just a means to an end. The moment you raise your voice against them, you're decried as an outlaw, clapped in irons and slung in a cell to rot.
An outlaw.
Whoever controls the crystals controls the realm. But our kind can wield magic without them. To our rulers, we must seem the most convenient of tools, and the most dangerous.
But what makes them think they have the right to use us?
Because they
To leave
believe
us to die
they have the
when
power.
our bodies are spent.
Does a nobleman weep for a broken mug? A torn tunic? Our fate means nothing to them. No, this isn't a battle you can win with words. Believe me, I've tried, but nothing ever gets through. The world is simply not ready to listen. So to hell with talking. If they won't give us a say, we'll decide our fates another way. You can't blame a man for wanting to bring an end to all this, can you?
I can't. But what of all the people you mean to rob of their comforts? Are you happy for them to call you outlaw?
Sid the Outlaw.
Don't hate it.
That'll do me.
You might at least pretend to take this seriously.
Have a little faith, Jill. Even if you don't think much of my choice of digs.
I believe the opposite. He takes this very seriously and is pretending like he doesn't.
Gladly play the role of villain. But first, we have a gate to crash. And once we're in, there'll be no turning back. So you best make ready. The world won't save itself.
World won't save itself. All right. Let's explore some of this giant field by Northreach.
The fruit's not getting any fresher.
That's the day done then.
You're one of the dames, I see.
no, it's just Torgal again. Okay, Torgal. Let's head up to Baywatch. See Pamela Anderson, it'll be great. But from there, we'll head over to Westwatch. Raptors, vultures, there's wild chocobo and bluebirds. Dun 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 dun.
Wait, you're not one of us.
You will pay for what you've done.
Boom. Cool. Worth it.
It's over.
Demon Tamer's Sash. When slaying a demon merely returns its soul to hell whence it came, until such a time as it's resurrected to inhabit a new host. Taming a demon is a much more effective means of dampening its evil influence on the corporeal plane by luring it and trapping an undying spirit of Hellspawn into accoutrements worn on one's person. One can also harness the power and channel portion to itself. Okay. And right there, right under the Empire's nose, I've killed another area, which amuses me.
How tall are you? Not this time. Not this time.
Good.
You know what to do, boy.
Yeah, I thought there's usually like a chest by these things. Oh well.
Keep your distance, boy.
Who goes there?
Good. Perfect. Hey, every Imperial that I kill right next to the capital only further emboldens me. I want to make these people suffer. Congratulations, game. You did what you had to do.
What are you playing at, Brandon?
Perfect.
When did you get so big? That's enough.
Perfect. Start with the astrologer, of course.
You're not welcome here.
Stay down.
so satisfying. I would make this the first tower that didn't give me, like, a unique item. Curious. Check further down. I am very curious as to what that is.
This won't be easy.
Seen these before. They said that thing might have been made by Shiva. You know, that could be kind of dope. That could be kind of cool.
We're counting on you. You and Jill both. All right. Quick look. Always something in there.
No, that's the problem.
Good day.
This should push him over the edge for level 3. Get a bunch of new stuff. Extant Encyclopedia.
Fascinating excerpt I've been meaning to show you.
The Continental Accord, an international pact made at the dawn of the present era, in which stable matters and in which such matters as the treatment of bears and the establishment of a wide realm currency were laid out. It formed the basis of much of Valisthian society as it stands today, including the branding of bears and their status as non-persons. It also put in place a universal calendar marking a symbolic fresh start for mankind, albeit one which put magic users at a crippling disadvantage. Founder. Fear and uncertainty reigned in the early years following the sins of Dismechus. Not wanting to further incur the wrath of the heavens, the few who survived the fall took to wandering the land, spurning magic and staying to the shadow. And so they lived for decades. One man, however, grew tired of this life, if it could be called that, and after bidding his companions farewell, climbed a grassy knoll overlooking a forest of beech and alder. Here he gathered a pile of rubble and used it to build a humble shelter, which he spent the night. The next morning, however, instead of abandoning his work, as was his people's wont, he gathered more rocks, adding to the structure until the shelter became a shack. He continued for days, weeks, until the shack had become a home. At first, those few wanderers who passed the knoll would shun him, cursing the man under their breaths for his hubris. But as his estate grew, and one building became 2, and 2, 3, the people began to slow their steps. And it was not long before some took to joining him on the knoll, gathering stones, building new lives, new destinies. This they did without magics or machines, without boon or blessing. They relied on naught but their hands, their backs, their wills, and each other. And slowly house gave way to village, village to town, and town to nation. The man who would one day die, as all men do, but those who remained continue. The man would one day die, as all men do. but those who remained continued his legacy, expanded upon it. And though his name was eventually forgotten, his spirit lives on to the day in the hearts of all Rosarians. Legend of the Founder.
If you have a question for me, I should be happy to answer it.
Right here. Firstborn son and loyal subject of Emperor Sylvester, ruler of the Holy Empire of Sombrek, as well as the leader of the Empire's most elite fighting force, the Dragoons. Dion is the dominant of Bahamut, Warden of Light, and has often been called upon to summon his icon in defense of his countrymen. Battle of Odin took him against the battle at Belenastor. Gout, Otto's loyal lackey, was a slave at the Oriflamme Tavern whose keeper beat him bloody. After being thrown out onto the streets as punishment for a minor mistake, it was his fortune to be found by Otto. First and foremost of the 5 cardinals who make up the Council of Elders, second only to the Holy Emperor of the Imperial Government, is his role to lead the Council in governing Sanbreque in the Emperor's stead, and providing the latter does not overrule his decisions. White Worm Castle, the towering citadel from which the Holy Emperor of Sombrek rules over the entirety of his domain, with the Mother Crystal rising above it and the imperial capital of Oriflamme spread out below. The ivory edifice is truly a wonder to behold. The 5 cardinals representing the central, so the north, south, east, and west, and then the central, aka the High Cardinal. The Breadbasket, a region overlooking the Strait of Altha in the eastern part of Sombrek. The bounty provided by its rich soil fed to the ever-encroaching plague intervened, displacing thousands in the process. The Dragon's Eyrie, a gentle sloping plain stretching east from Sombrek Quad checkpoint of Northreach, as the name implies, heavily populated by manner of wild worms. Glorieuse, a key strategic point in Sombrek. Its location just south of Oriflamme makes it a vital first line of defense against any assault on the Holy Capital. The road from Northreach to Caer Norvent and just beyond the Crystal Belt bisects the area. A narrow channel through the Crystalline Dominion that separates continents of Storm and Ash, with Sombrook to the west, Waloed to the east, and the Dominion to the south. One of the most valuable materials known to mankind for its ability to... let's skip down. Though the penalties for illicit trade in crystals are severe, the demand far outstripping supply, many still dabble in the black market. And the bestiary, what's new? Raptors, widely believed to be common folk, to be descendants of dragons on the account of their leathery wings, meagerness of plumage, and distinct ability to spit fire. Learned scholars have long since concluded that they are deceptively reptilian creatures, are none other than birds of prey, which over countless centuries hunting creatures on the ground have simply lost their capacity for flight. Vultures, opportunistic avians. Many predatory birds prefer to stealthily swoop in. Dragonettes. Lesser dragons known for their nimbleness, the specimen of some subspecies known commonly as worm or worm, are somewhat easy to tame and are widely employed in the battle by Imperial legions.
The door to the shelves shall ever be open.
Do you need any help, Miss Molly?
I heard Otto barking at his lot earlier. Didn't sound happy.
We're counting on you.
All right.
You and Jill go.
Ah. You've reached a pivotal moment. If you continue, you will not be able to return. In that case, I might do a little bit of grinding for money so I could buy some stuff. But I think that is where we are going to call it for the evening. Yeah. All right. Yeah. In that case. All right, Alvin. Guys, this is where we are going to call it. Got a good amount done there, particularly a lot of side quests and the like. I feel like they're really setting us up to hate the Empire because of every single one of those side quests and character interactions was just bad. 90% of Imperials suck. 95 maybe. Easily hateable, good. And we are going to start our next stream with us infiltrating the capital of Oriflamme. And supposedly it's going to be big because we might not be able to go back. I think we might also be getting close to maybe a confrontation with Hugo and the like. Anyway. As I said, that's where we're calling it. So guys, thank you for joining me. If you're watching this on Twitch and made it this far, make sure you're following me. I appreciate you for watching this when it goes up on YouTube. Again, thanks. You're the best. Make sure you're subscribed. Stay up to date on all the things I'm doing. I am playing Final Fantasy, but very soon I'm going to be getting back to playing my Legend of Zelda Marathon. Continuing my playthrough of Ocarina of Time. I'm going to be playing some Genshin coming up, and there are a number of games coming up. Potentially Pikmin 4. And just every game that was announced during the Summer Games Festival, which there are many. Many. Alright, before I keep rambling, let me say one last time thanks. That is all for this thing that I am doing, and I will be seeing you. Till next time, peace.